Hi everybody, welcome back to Connie's Kitchen. It's been a little while, it's been kind of a busy season, and it's cold outside. So today we're going to make soup. We're going to make 3 soups, and I'll show you just how easy it is. The only time consuming part of the process is making your own stock. So I made this ahead. I'm going to strain some right now. And all I did with this, looks kind of murky at this point. I mean, it's not real pretty. But I threw in a ham bone, some hunks of carrot, broccoli, kind of cleaned out the refrigerator. Some turnips in there, some radishes, some different things, some green onions, obviously. And that's going to be the base for our soup. So here we have just the clear stock, because the rest of the stuff in the pot is all cooked out now. It's not like you're going to eat any of it. I'll put those in my garbage bowl for right now. So the first one we're going to make is a basic tomato. And in order to get started, you know what, I'm going to set that there for a minute. Okay, I'm a little disorganized today. I'm going to start some garlic and onion, get that browning a bit. And as usual, I don't throw anything away, so this onion is somewhat pre-diced, but that's all right. So get that in a pan. And while I'm doing this, there's our onions. I get that on the heat. Just get it cooking a little bit. This is all about quick. I mean, it's not, soups can go, you can cook a long time, of course, but here in the kitchen, we're quite often trying to prepare a meal and serve it, and we generally have a time crunch. So that's what we're all about. So when we get that on the flame, that's real simple. I'm going to get some bacon going because we're going to need that as a garnish for one of our soups. There we go with that. We'll just let that sit and cook for a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to season it a little bit. And as usual, I've got my seasonings set out already. One of the things that I'm using a lot more of, we've been talking about salt a lot. Now people don't like a lot of salt in their food. So I'm switching over as much as I can from your regular white table salt and using sea salt. This one happens to be pink Himalayan sea salt. And it has got such a strong, luscious flavor that you really don't use much. You can see it comes in rock form. So I got a grinder, and I grind up a little ahead of time, and I end up with this very fine powder. And I'm just literally going to throw a pinch in there. That adds so much flavor. And again, if people want to salt at the table, they always can. And a little bit of pepper. But this is fun. This is fun stuff. And I tell you what, this bottle is probably going to last me 15 years because you really don't use much of it at all. So we got that started. The onions are just about transparent. And I made this soup last weekend for some ladies that were here, and they loved it. And I'm almost embarrassed to say how easy it is to do. But while that's cooking real quick, I'm going to get some things started for our second soup, which will be potato soup. And it kind of ends up being like a roasted potato soup, because I'm going to throw these in the oven at 350. It takes about an hour. So I'll get those going. And when you're roasting your potatoes, you can throw onions and such in if you want, but you don't have to. All right, I'm listening to my food. Got a lot going on here today. Flip the bacon. Turn off my onions because they're ready to go. And I'm chopping. Don't you just love it when I chop? So this is kind of multitasking here, so that I can do these. Probably at home you might make one soup for a meal. I'm just demonstrating 3, and it's going to be kind of like an appetizer, main course, then a dessert soup. So rather than do 3 separate shows, we'll do it all today. It's a challenge. We'll see if it works. I think it will. Again, a little bit of salt and pepper. And that goes in. A little bit of garlic. And now, in the interest of fewer dishes to wash, I took a piece of foil. I'm going to make a little divider for this pan. And then we're going to roast our apples on the other side after I check my bacon. I'm going to get the oven going 350 to cook our potatoes. Bacon's almost done. And I'll get these started. Love apples. And I know a lot of people say dessert soup sounds weird, but then when I make them, they love them. A couple weeks ago, I had a group of ladies up, and one of the ladies had a lot of food issues. And she informed me ahead of time and gave me a list, and it was a very limited list of things she could actually eat. I discovered she could eat a lot of root vegetables, rutabaga, turnips, things like that. So I actually made a rutabaga soup, and everyone loved it. I'm not a big fan of rutabaga myself. My mom loved it, and she used to make it every year for Thanksgiving just for herself, and it smelled so strong in the house. But after she died, I discovered that on Thanksgiving, I had to cook a rutabaga because I needed that smell in the house to keep my memory complete and kind of bring Mom back for the holidays. So there we go. The apples will probably get soft enough about 10 minutes ahead of the potatoes. So just kind of check them. Okay, I'm going to check my bacon here. Just make it a little bit because it is a garnish. Chop these, throw them in the oven, and chop these, throw them in the oven. There we go. All right, and I am going to sweeten these up a little. A little bit of honey. Just a little bit of honey. Group them together there. Always a pinch of salt, even in fruit. And some brown sugar. And then I'm going to throw these in the oven, and when we get back, we're actually going to take a little break because I'm going to let the potatoes and such cook. We get back, and we will assemble our tomato soup, and we will be good to go. There you go. All right. Now I'm back to my tomato soup. So I've got my onions and such browned. They're ready to go. I'm going to start assembling it. When you come back, I'll tell you what I did.
Hello, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles.
Together, Terry and I host the weekly news Monday through Friday at 12, 6, and 11 p.m.
Broadcast on Charter Channel 191 and AT&T U-verse 99, we only cover news that impacts our local Addison and Oxford area. In other words, by all accounts, news that would normally not receive from any other televised source.
But chances are, if it's local, it will be found on Oxford Community Television and OCTV.
For the weekly news, I'm Terry Stiles.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Together, we invite you to join Terry and me for our next OCTV weekly news program.
And we're back. Our potatoes and apples are in the oven roasting. I'm going to assemble. This is really just assembling the tomato soup. I've got a can of petite diced tomatoes. Just going to stir that into our stock, and then our browned, when we brown the onion and garlic with a little bit of seasoning. And now here's the trick. It's just plain old tomato juice. And this, you can leave it this way. You can leave it chunky, or you can puree it. And I was actually going to blend it, but I think I'm not going to. I think I just decided that for today we're going to enjoy this just like this. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to set that on the back of the stove. The bacon is done. Probably a little more than done, but that's all right too. Yeah, that got a little crispy. Oh well, that happens. And now I'm not sure what I want to do. Anyway, we can start assembling our potato. Oh, and we did take a break while we were filming, so I finished the potatoes and apples and separated them, and I set them over here. So it would be easier to work with just one thing at a time. That's the magic of television and excellent editing. So now I'm going to take, I have some more of my stock here, just the plain stock that I made. I'm going to toss the potatoes right into it. Just like that. And one thing I forgot to reach out of the fridge. Ta-da! So our tomato soup is done. At the end we'll garnish them all and serve them. I'm going to add a little bit of milk, not a lot. I'm going to add some herbes de Provence, which is a mixture of, I've used this on the show before, I think. It has lavender, it has thyme, it has all sorts of aromatics, and it's just a nice little pinch of flavor I like to put in right at the end. And this one, now we're going to use the immersion blender. Make sure you don't drag your cord across anything over there, so that could be a bit of a mess. All right, get a little bit closer. And spray it around the room a little bit. Okay. Oh, that smells so good. Can you smell this at home? Because it smells wonderful. So this is going to come up kind of a creamy, thick consistency. It's almost like, tastes a lot like a baked potato when it's done, because we'll garnish it with some aged white cheddar, some of our bacon, a little bit of sour cream. And yeah, it's spraying around the room right now. There we go. Maybe if I tip it, that's better. So you know how much I love my immersion blender. And every time I had to go back and forth from home to here, I had to carry it with me. So my hubby surprised me and got me another one for home for Christmas. And so between this and he also got me a new chopper, which I'm not using today, but I've used before. So it just makes it a lot easier going back and forth. I don't, oh, don't laugh. I don't have to carry quite so much stuff with me now. This time of year, soups are just great. My guests are always asking, what's your soup going to be? What's your soup going to be? You see how simple this is? It's just a matter of throwing some stock, which we made, which is just tap water, salt and pepper, garlic, and whatever I had left in the fridge. In this case, like I said, radishes and turnips, Brussels sprouts, onions, and I happen to have a ham bone in the freezer. Don't throw your ham bones away. Same thing with chicken. If you want to make a nice chicken stock for chicken soup, save the chicken carcass, because you throw it right in the pot. Then you just siphon it out, check for bones, and you cook it down the same way. For chicken stock, throw in some carrots, maybe a potato, some seasoning, and just let it simmer. I usually bring the stock up to a boil for about 20 minutes, and then I let it simmer for about an hour, and it's ready to go. And you can store it in the fridge until you're ready to use it. So there we go. We have a very creamy, usually I make my potato soup too thick. Today I made it very thin so that there's a lot of flavor and it smells so very good. So we're going to get ready to serve that. And I didn't turn my oven off. There we go. Okay, we got, I think we'll plate our appetizer soup, which is our tomato soup. As soon as I find a ladle. Yeah, I think that was a good choice to leave that chunky. It's a beautiful day up here at the lodge. It's only about 20 degrees outside, but the sun is out. And the unicorns were having a snowball fight earlier. I don't know where they are now. There we go. So you can serve this as a meal, like I said, with the 3 soups. Maybe add a loaf of crusty bread or a small salad. And you've got a hearty meal for a cold, cold day. I think a couple of cherry tomatoes, toss those in. I was hoping they would float, but they didn't. No matter. And there we have our first soup completed. Ta-da! And I'm going to set this aside so I don't dump it. And then get some of our potato soup out. Oh, and I meant to reserve a few pieces of potato as a garnish, but I forgot. Oh well, stuff happens. Oh, this smells so good. Now I'm smelling the combination of the tomato soup and the potato soup and the herbs. Oh, this is lovely. This is just lovely. We're having good lunch today. Look at that. Is that beautiful? Nice and creamy. You can make it thicker. It really depends on how many potatoes you use. The more potatoes, less stock. Of course, that would make it thicker. I had one case one night where I made it here actually for a dinner party, and I made it so thick, it was almost like mashed potatoes. But the flavor was great, and everybody loved it, so get a couple chunks of potato in there. And we have our second soup. And we'll garnish that with some aged white cheddar, some sour cream, some bacon, and we're good to go. We come back, we're going to throw together our dessert soup because our apples are done and ready to go, and so are we. So I'm just going to go ahead, probably can't see what I'm doing here. I just got a chunk of aged white cheddar. I'm just going to cut it into little pieces here to throw on the soup, and this one will be done also. Isn't this fun? Taking the mystery out of soups with Connie in Connie's kitchen. So come back and join me in a minute, and we will prepare our dessert, and we'll talk about the lodge a little bit more because, you know, I love to do that. So I'll see you shortly.
This is OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford and Addison Townships with the best in local programming. On Charter Channel 191, AT&T UVerse Channel 99, and our website, OCCTV.org. OCTV, we provide local programming that brings you closer to home.
As we recognize the service of America's men and women in uniform, let's also honor the families who sacrifice so much every day. As the service member serves, so does the family. Do you really want to honor a veteran? Look for ways to support their families and thank them for their sacrifices. Go to legion.org/honor-veterans to find out how you can help.
Okay, we have completed our potato soup, our tomato soup. I put out some chopped aged white cheddar, some sour cream, some bacon. Now we'll put together our dessert soup. There are our, now you realize these are small quantities because just for demonstration purposes, although I'm sure somebody around here is going to have lunch today. So there we have, the apples baked down so they're pretty soft because we want to blend them for a soup. To that, I'm going to add just a little bit of stock. Now, you think this is weird because it's got the onions and the vegetables in it, but it just adds a very nice bright dimension to things. And, you know, if you don't like it, try something else. That's the fun part. To that, I'm going to add just a little pinch of salt, a little bit of lemon juice. Because even though it's dessert, it doesn't have to be overly sweet. Now we're going to add some half and half. You can use milk, half and half cream, whatever. And we're going to blend again, and you might want to cover your screens because it's probably going to splash again. So I'm going to turn this speed down. All right, and we're going to blend our apples. Now, This is not a very deep dish to do this in, but you get the gist. And we're going to blend down our apples. Add a little bit more cream. So up here at the lodge, we have got so much going on right now. We're spilling cream, making a mess on the table. No, we're having our wine dinners, which are coming up in March, April, and May, and February. Actually, there's still seats available for February. So if you're interested in the wine dinners, give me a call. That's, as always, 248-933-4579. We have some scrapbooker groups coming up. There we go. Yes, I'm wearing most of the soup today. We have birthday parties scheduled, baby showers, bridal showers. We're just having such a good time. And very soon, we will have our website. It is in the works. But in the meantime, watch us on OCTV and catch us on YouTube. And I will blather on about things and tell you what's going on. But you can always call. You can hit me up on Facebook, which is Treetop Lodge, Oxford. You need a friend request, but I'll say yes. And you can always email me at stormy3958@att.net. Gotta have fun in the kitchen. You make a little bit of a mess. Oh well. Now this I'm blending to a very thick consistency. It's still a soup, but we're gonna serve this one thicker and at room temperature. So there we have that. And we're gonna, excuse me just a minute. Yep, I made a mess. But luckily I have a crew that comes in afterwards and cleans up, as I've mentioned before. So here we have, now sometimes when I'm not finishing sentences again, right? Sometimes I will blend in pears, different types of pears when I make this. And that adds a nice flavor to it also. So there we go on that. Wipe the rim. Gonna garnish that with about a slice of apple. This is Honeycrisp. I used Granny Smith in the recipe. And this one is my favorite Honeycrisp. And it's perfect. So we're gonna slice of apple, a little bit of walnut, a couple of golden raisins, and there you have a meal. We have our tomato soup, which was just basically the canned tomatoes, the homemade stock, and tomato juice. Okay, my secret's out. Potato soup, which we roasted the potatoes, seasoned them, blended in some milk, some more of our stock, and blended that to a medium consistency, not real fine, not real thick. And we'll garnish that with the aged white cheddar and the bacon and the sour cream, so it's like a baked potato flavor. And then we have our dessert soup, which is the baked apples, seasoned with honey and lemon, and really whatever you want to do to taste, maybe a little bit of cinnamon. Blended that with some half and half before we dumped it all over the table. And garnished it with a slice of fresh apple, walnuts, and golden raisins. So there you have it. That's a meal. Now, the stock takes a little bit of time, but the rest of these, as you can see, I did it all on camera. It's all ready to go. So you can pick one or you can pick three. And in this cold weather, I mean, it's beautiful because the sun's out, but come on, it's cold outside. And it's Michigan, so it's going to be cold for a while. So good hearty meals are a good thing. So that's what we've been doing up here, experimenting, creating soups. Soon we're going to do a remote from a local hospital where I've been asked to come in and talk about healthy eating. And I've decided not to call it healthy eating. I decided to call it thoughtful eating. Because when you say healthy, people say, oh, so I'm going to have tofu and salad for the rest of my life. It doesn't have to be like that. So I'm going to talk and demonstrate, and we're going to actually film there that day. So that'll be a lot of fun, and you'll get to see what we do there. And other than that, we're just booking up, getting ready for spring, getting ready for summer. Things seem to be moving very quickly right now. But we're having fun doing it, always. And the guests have been great. And we just, we could accommodate just about anyone. Like I said, I had a lady a couple weeks ago that had some real food issues. I even made Brussels sprouts. Did a completely deconstructed chicken salad so that each person could choose the things that they could or couldn't eat and build their own plate. We had kale and mustard greens and baked chicken cut up. And as I said, the Brussels sprouts. We had some sauteed vegetables, some fresh vegetables. And it turned out beautifully. They were very, very happy with the result. So I already gave you the info. Give me a call, 248-933-4579. Come on up to the lodge and see me. I'd love to show the place off. I'm giving a tour this weekend, as a matter of fact. And let's see what we can put together. Like I said, you don't have to be a scrapbooker. It could just be a group of friends. You can join us for our wine dinners. And we do have limited overnight accommodations when people come for various events, if you're not booking out the whole house to stay the weekend. So that's always doable. I don't think you'll find a better deal anywhere in town, and certainly not in any hotel. So give me a call. Let me tell you what we can do for you. Let me show you around. And we now also have limited accommodations for couples. It's not just strictly ladies now. So if you come up, you can come up for a dinner, you could, whatever you want to do. But it's all open, so give me a call and let's work it out. And watch us here on OCTV, tell your friends. Our numbers are way up. I'm very pleased. I've been looking at the numbers on the various episodes, and they're all over the place, from 75 to 300 views. So I don't know if people are picking and choosing. But when you get some time, go back and go through them. We also air daily on OCTV, I think at 10:30, Monday through Friday, and then always up on YouTube. So come and see us, and then let me know what you're thinking. I want to get some friends here in the kitchen to cook with me, and that'll be a lot of fun. So until next time, enjoy your soup, be safe, and we'll see you next time at Treetop Lodge here in Connie's kitchen.
At Oakland County Parks and Recreation, we value what you value: family relationships, community connections, good health, environmental stewardship, and economic stability. Oakland County residents and businesses have invested in preserving nearly 7,000 acres of parkland. Since 1966, 13 parks and golf courses have been acquired, maintained, and improved. Oakland County parks and facilities are made possible by millage funds supported by Oakland County residents. For a home valued at $200,000, the homeowner pays less than $25 per year to support the Oakland County parks. With every generation, families create lifelong memories at Oakland County's award-winning parks. From exciting summer escapades and stories around the campfire to brisk fall walks on wooded trails and snowy winter outings, the outdoors beckons year-round. It's time to get up, get out, and get going at the Oakland County parks. Active recreation options abound. Cross-country ski or mountain bike on tree-lined trails. Scale the rock climbing wall. Get your kicks with soccer at several sports fields. Row or paddle a boat on 4 picturesque inland lakes. It's an easy journey. Most parks are just a short drive away. A quick tip: all our parks and golf courses end in Oaks. To find your favorite, just go to destinationoakland.com.
Hello, I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles.
Together, Terry and I host the weekly news Monday through Friday at 12, 6, and 11 p.m.
Broadcast on Charter Channel 191 and AT&T U-verse 99, we only cover news that impacts our local Addison and Oxford area. In other words, by all accounts, news that would normally not receive from any other televised source.
But chances are, if it's local, it will be found on Oxford Community Television and OCTV.
For the weekly news, I'm Terry Stiles.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Together, we invite you to join Terry and me for our next OCTV weekly news program.